Well, morning everyone and Happy New Year. Welcome to this week's webinar. This week we'll be looking at one way, an easy way, to remember lists of information. It's called the journey method and it's been used successfully since Roman times and for all we know, even earlier than that. But because it's the beginning of the year, I've got some sage advice about New Year's resolutions from Jeff Goins from Zen Habits. Think how this applies to your revision this year and passing the important exams. This new year, do something different. Stop setting goals. If the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, then making resolutions for another year is a surefire way to drive yourself crazy. Resolutions are pipe dreams and goals are a waste of time. They're designed to trick you into believing all you need to change your life is a plan. But plans don't work. Life is too chaotic and busy. For most of us, it's impossible to stick to a list of goals for more than a few weeks, not to mention an entire year. So how do you change your life? By controlling what you can, in other words, your daily habits. Create new disciplines you actually like doing. Don't be fixated on the end results. Make sure you enjoy the process. This is the secret to a healthy, productive life and to making an impact on the world. Create good, sustainable habits that you enjoy, and you'll end up with a life you can be proud of. So that's what he says. So habits, some good, sustainable habits, and maybe that will give us some exam scores we'd be proud of too. Okay, so before we look at this week's topic, I've got a question for you to think about. How does someone diagnosed with dyslexia get the world record for remembering 2,385 random binary digits in less than 30 minutes? Or remember 18 decks of shuffled cards. There's 936 of them, remembering them in order in just 1 hour. This someone's IQ and brain structure, and indeed any memory champion like this, their IQ and brain is no different from the rest of us. So what's going on? Are they using their brains differently? Are they using different parts of their brains? When we use a scanner to see which parts they are using, we discover that there's more activity in 3 particular brain regions. Regions of the brain where we process space and movement. In other words, memory champions assign space and movement to the otherwise static cards and numbers. These brain regions are usually busy for most of us during movement and navigation, but not normally during simple memory tests. However, these were the very areas most active for the memory champions. So, if by using these parts of the brain they can perform extraordinary feats of memory, could we learn to do something similar, and would that help us with our revision? The question then becomes, how can we use the knowledge of how they use their brains to our advantage? When asked what's their secret, memory champions tell us they're making full use of imagination, association, and location. Each triggers the recall of the other. Imagination, association, location. Imagination is easy. We've all got great imaginations. It's imagination that got man on the moon. Association. Whenever we can associate new information with old stuff we already know, it's easy to get a grip on the new stuff and remember it. Location's an interesting one too, isn't it? Have you ever literally retraced your steps to jog your memory about where you left your car keys, for example? Somehow location seems to help to anchor information in our heads and make it easier to recall too. The Greeks knew that by utilising movement, space and location, they could remember massive long speeches. These memory aids became known as mnemonics, from the Greek word mnemon, for mindful. Perhaps you've heard of Nemesis, goddess of memory? We tend to associate mnemonics with word-based aids, for example acronyms such as Every Good Boy Deserves Fun, to remember the names of the notes on the lines of a music stave, or rhythmic verses such as 30 days, that's September, April, June and November, to help us remember the number of days in a month. But in fact, a mnemonic is any memory tool. Never mind the Greeks. What did the Romans ever do for us? Well, the Romans had this trick up their togas too. The journey method. This is a memory tool, a mnemonic. To use the journey method, what you have to do is choose a familiar journey. A walk, say, or a car ride, anything. Then you need to identify distinct stages and their locations along the way. And then finally you attach the things you need to remember, one to each stage. You need to make the images vivid in your imagination. So let's try it ourselves by looking at creating an example of our own. Let's say we're going to learn something about overseas pension schemes. And let's say we're going to use the journey method. What's the first thing we need to do? Well, we need to think about a journey we know like the back of our hand. For example, my walk to the post office. As I'm talking my way through this, I can easily picture my route. Of course, the route you'd choose would be the one that you'd be able to see in your mind's eye, with your eyes shut. So my journey consists of shutting the door, walking down the garden path, turning left at the end, walking along the road to the bend in the road, following the road round to the right, walking 300 yards, and boom, there it is. It's a very short journey, this particular one that I'm looking at. So then I'm going to put my stages in. If you were doing this for your revision, you'd need to write the stages down as a list. You could even draw pictures of them. You don't have to be Leonardo da Vinci for your brain to get the benefit of presenting it with images. So when I shut the door, I'm thinking of the doorknob. That's my first stage. Walking down the garden path, I'm thinking about the gate that I walk through halfway down the garden path. So that stage is the gate. I turn left at the end, actually by the corner of our garage. And then I keep walking until I get to the bend in the road. So I'm going to think of the two sleeping policemen in the road, the speed bumps. I'm going to think of those as two stages along that road to get to the bend. Then I turn to the right, following the bend round. And in fact, that's going to be my next stage. I walk 300 yards, and in doing so, I actually walk over a level crossing. So that's going to be my next stage. And when I arrive, they've always got newspapers and fruit and veg and stuff outside the door on the way into the post office. So I'm going to count that, the baskets of fruit and veg, because they're usually very colourful. That's going to be my final stage. So remember, as I said, you need a journey with stages along the way. So here it is again. It's really familiar to me. I don't have to think about it. So you'd need to use one that's dead easy for you to remember. Okay? So there's my journey with the stages on it. So once you've got that far, you need to look at the information you want to learn. Now, here we are. Individuals can transfer their UK pension funds to qualifying recognised overseas pension schemes. Since the 6th of April, blah, blah, blah. There we are. 6th of April 2006. So you'd also need to know why somebody might want to do that. So there are all sorts of things there in the second section. 7 reasons. 7 reasons, can I count? Yes, 7 reasons why it might be of interest to someone abroad or someone planning to be abroad. So that's the information that we want to attach to the stages on the journey. Okay? So how would we do that then? As you write them down, if you're doing this for yourself, you need to make maybe silly, tenuous perhaps, links between them. You're trying to link them so that your brain will attach the information to the stages. The dafter those tenuous links, they don't have to be tenuous, but they usually end up being tenuous. The dafter they are, the more your brain will like them. So for example, shutting the door, pushing the doorknob. So we've got to attach the information, no requirement to purchase an annuity. Imagine that you were shutting the door on the requirement. Yeah? So that would help you to anchor that bit of information onto that stage. So think about how you can link the gate, which is the next stage down the garden path. How could you link the gate with tax-free benefits? Potential to access benefits 100% tax-free. Well, how about the grass is always greener on the other side of the gate? And you can get to it easily, just like these benefits. 100% tax-free. Something like that to try and link that to the gate. Next one then, turn left. And we've got to, the information we've got to attach is increased flexibility in terms of how and when you access your benefits. So how about the mere movement of turning left is a demonstration of flexibility of direction. Okay? So that's a bit daft as well, but that does help you to think of turning to the left, bending to the left, being flexible, having a greater choice of movement, having a greater choice of investments. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one, sorry, increased flexibility. I've just skipped one down, haven't I? Increased flexibility, showing how you can bend to the left, turn left. Now that I was getting muddled up with the next one, look, to the bend in the road. That's what I was looking at. So we're going over 2 sleeping policemen, and we've got a greater choice of investments to attach to those. So I'm going to use the 2 sleeping policemen to imagine I've got 2 options. I've got this option, I've got that option. I've got 2 sleeping policemen, greater choice of investments. I hope this is making some sense, even if I did get into a muddle there. Okay, so to the right. Now the road bends to the right, look. And we've got to attach the information, hold pension funds in the currency of your new home country, removing exchange rates risks. Okay. So you could think of the first direction before the bend as the original currency, and after the bend, the second direction is the new currency of the new country. So, first one way and then the other way, the new currency. The next one is the level crossing, and the information we've got to attach to that is pass your pension fund to your beneficiaries upon death free of inheritance tax. Okay, so you'd be free of inheritance tax upon your death. So, level crossing, perfect. We seem to have a lot of accidents on our level crossing. They're always very slow and gentle bumps, but they must be a bit of a shock to whoever's involved in them. Quite frankly, it's difficult to imagine how anyone could miss the level crossing and not realise that with the noise and the red flashing lights, especially in the dark, that it's time to stop because there's a train coming. And the last accident that happened there was in the dark, so indeed those lights will have been absolutely flashing, and it screams, doesn't it? It makes a racket as well. But that's a good one for me, because the level crossing and we're trying to attach what happens upon your death. So I can think of the level crossing as somewhere to be really careful that you don't let your beneficiaries inherit your money too soon, because you're going to look out for trains. Okay, the last one, fruit and veg. Now, I mentioned to you that the baskets outside the shop, the post office and the shop there, are very colourful. All the fruit and veg there really draws the attention. Loads of different colours, shapes and sizes. So the information we've got to attach there: tax benefits for those with funds approaching the lifetime allowance, 1.8 million in the tax year, blah, blah, blah. Right, so we could think of all of that information being very attractive tax benefits, like all those attractive, colourful fruit and veg. Lots of different sorts of things there. Does that make sense? So after you've assigned the information to the stages and you've worked hard, like I've done, to try and make associations between them, then you need to practice walking the journey a few times so that you see the stages and the information attached to them. Okay, because then in next to no time, it's not just the journey, it's everything you'll have up your sleeve. Now, you'll probably want to use a different journey for each new set of information you want to remember. But that's easy. Even a trip to the bathroom in the middle of the night can be used. You need to think about the stages along the way. That's easy enough. Bear whatever you find yourself tripping over en route. So this can be a very effective way to remember lists of information. You use a journey you're already familiar with. You write down the stages and landmarks. You write the information you need to remember by the side of each, and then you make those associations and links between them. In the same way that we've been using several parts of our brains, including our imaginative right brains, the more you engage and get yourself interested in your revision and the revision process, the more your brain will get the distinct idea that this is both fun and important. You'll soon get into the swing of it, and it'll get easier and easier. And you'll take pride in what you're achieving because you'll be making tangible progress. Now, for the people on the webinar who have only recently joined us, I want to just mention an easy way to find your way round the Genius Material resources. And for the old hands, it's not a bad idea to have a reminder, because I know what it's like when you're so busy. When you started, you had a quick look, you got going, and you've probably not glanced at this page even though you've landed on it every time that you log in, because whenever you log into the site, you'll automatically land on the welcome page. It looks like this. And here you'll find what to do and in what order, so that you never get lost. So always refer back to this page. As many of you know already, the process starts off with the questionnaire. And once you've answered the questions, the correct eBook for your preferred learning style is generated. Everything you need to know is in there. Once you've read it, I suggest you read it again. It won't take long. I've deliberately kept it short and sweet, because I know you're short of time, and I'm trying to save you time, not create more for you to do. I would then suggest that you watch the training videos, because that's the same material presented in a new way, elaborated upon and using new examples, and there's extra stuff in there as well. But it will reinforce what you've already looked at in the eBook. And you know by now that you need to go back to information a few times if you want to retain it. And of course, out of all of this stuff, of course you want to retain how to revise, because you want to make sure that every time you sit down, you're making the full use of your time. So watch the training videos. you don't have to watch them all in one sitting, for goodness sake. Fit it into your busy timetable where you can. The other thing is, as you are doing now, is check in every Friday with our webinars. But most of all, and you might get sick of me saying this, but I'm not going to apologise for it, keep in touch. Ring me, email me. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what you need help with. Let me know where the difficulties are. If you let me know what you need, then I can tailor what I'm doing to make sure that I fit that beautifully. Don't leave me guessing. Make sure you give me that feedback so that I can help you as much as I can. That's what I'm here for. And there are members who are keeping in touch with me regularly. They're the ones who are sending me their notes and saying, look, this is what I'm doing. Can you see any way of making them even easier to remember? And I will do exactly that. So send me your notes, ring me, at least get in touch with me, and then we can discuss what's the best way for me to help you. And they're the ones who are getting the most out of their membership. So be one of them and make life easy for yourself. You may have noticed on the website there are articles appearing in the media now as people are beginning to hear about Genius Material. Here's what Money Marketing had to say. And this too, Greg Watt. And this too, in Professional Advisor. It's all there in the media section of the website. It's in the drop-down menu under About. Which brings me on to another point. Please do let people know about Genius Material. It does make life so much easier when you're already juggling exams with a full-time job. There are so many IFAs apparently leaving the business. The field will be wide open for you people to clean up, so you can afford to be generous and let other people know about it. Even the local press are getting in on the act now. If you're curious, you can go and see for yourself on the media page under the About tab. And while you're there, you might want to have a quick glance at the Talks and Workshops page. I'll be doing a series of workshops this year. We've already got a few dates in the diary, but I'm going to be doing them, a lot of them in London, but a lot around the country too. And they're organised variously and promoted by the NMBA, Money Marketing, Panacea, 7 Investment Management and the PFS. Keep your eyes open, maybe you'll join us. As I've said over and over, please ring me, please email me, use the forum, comment on the blogs, get involved. You know what it's like. Any activity that you've really actively participated in, one, you've got more out of it, you've learnt more, you've got more out of it, but 2, you've enjoyed it more, haven't you? So get involved, communicate with me, and I will help you as much as I possibly can. Okay. Oh, and by the way, if you do that, you may depend that you'll be helping someone else too, because if you're struggling with a particular thing, don't believe for a moment that you're the only person struggling with that particular aspect of revision. So if you let me know what you need help with, you'll be absolutely sure to be helping other people too. Use every possible means to stay in touch with me. The more you get interested in the whole business of learning, the more your mind will get excited and latch on to what you're doing. And that's the feedback that I'm getting from people as they're checking in with me, their notes, whatever style of notes they're choosing to make. There are a few people lately who have been sending me their mind maps. They've chosen to do mind mapping, some by hand, some using the software that I recommend. If you want to know more about that, that's also on the website. That's under the shop tab. One of the drop downs is mind mapping. Have a look at that and see if that's something that would help you. And lots of different styles of notes, people making bullet points or all sorts of things, using the journey method and all the other things. But there are people who are sending me their stuff and asking me if I can see an easy way to improve things, and invariably there is. something else that they can be doing to make life even easier. So of course I've got an eye for it because this is what I'm doing every day. And it's not necessarily going to be your area of expertise because you're already doing that with your clients. So let me take the hard work and the hassle out of it. Let me give you the shortcut to what's probably going to work best for you. And the more you tell me what you need help with, the more I can tailor what I'm teaching to what you need. Then we'll all be happy. So if you have any questions, stick your hand up now if you've got a microphone in your computer. If not, type your question into the box in the control panel so I can see it. And of course, you can ring me afterwards. And in fact, I have requested that one person on board today gives me a ring afterwards because I'm getting an idea that I could perhaps lend a hand there. So even if I've not had that conversation with you and you think there might be something I can help you with, give me a ring or email me if you'd rather. So I'm just waiting to just double check that there aren't any questions. Okay, well, that's it then for now. Have a productive week. And I'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye.